both of us were working in the Coimbatore Medical College, and I used to be on duty in the night once a week. It's called a duty assistant surgeon, and he used to be a duty assistant physician. I have never seen him sitting in the quarters, in our duty quarters. He used to be in the ward all the time, except he will come only for dinner. So he doesn't want the patient to wait for him, and he'll be waiting for the patients. That's a noble soul. I don't think anybody else could work like that. And as somebody was telling, he doesn't take money from poor people. And all my relatives also, whenever I refer them to him for a neurology consult, oh, Dr. Kandasamy is relative? That's it. No fees, no fees. Please go. Like that. He was such a great soul. And when I heard about that he is admitted in PSG Medical College Hospital a few days ago, I had been inquiring Dr. Ramchandran, who has been in close touch with some doctors there. And I was telling him also, once he becomes all right, when he comes home, I would like to go and meet him and pay my regards to him. But it's so unfortunate that we are not going to meet him at all. And I really don't know. I take this opportunity to convey my heartfelt condolences to the family, and may I pray that his soul rests in peace.
Thank you, Rotarian Dr. SVK.
Thank you.
Now I request Rotarian Ramani Shankar uncle to say a few words about Dr. Pranesh. Okay. Dr. Ramani Shankar. Ramani Shankar. Uncle, unmute yourself. Yeah. Please unmute yourself, uncle.
Yeah. Fellow Rotarians, it is very sad to hear the news that Dr. Pranesh is no more. Ever since he got admitted in the hospital, I used to get information regularly about his health. Day before yesterday, they said he is improving. We were very happy. Kalyani spoke to his wife Indra and spoke, giving encouragement words to her. I don't think we can find a person, a human being, more than him as a doctor. He was my childhood friend. We went to the same school. I had known the family so well. And his father, M.B. Rao, settled in Coimbatore because he was working for Tatas. Tatas, he was doing from Paikara to Coimbatore, he was doing the electrical work. He was the engineer for that. Now the present PSR at 100 feet road, that used to be their house. Every evening we used to be there. Every evening we used to spend time together. And his elder brother was another close friend of mine. It is quite unfortunate that Pranesh is no more. I still remember he was working in Suri's elder brother's clinic, and he used to close the clinic at about 12 o'clock in the night, attending to every patient, spending, he says, I used to tell him, hey, Pranesh, are you idiot? You are spending so much of time. He says, Ramani, you do not know. For a neurological patient, we have to spend half an hour with each patient. He used to spend time like that. He was a dedicated man. That kind of man, I do not know, he is a special species. He's a special species. And his loss is greatest loss for the fraternity of doctors and friends like us. He was an excellent teacher, and everybody will watch say for that. And on my personal behalf, On behalf of Kalyani, on behalf of family, we send our heartfelt condolences and pray Almighty for his soul to rest in peace. I am very satisfied and glad that Rotary he was made Rotary Coimbatore Central gave him Vocational Service Excellence Award to most deserving person. Let's pray for his soul to rest in peace.
Thank you, Uncle. Now I request Dr. Para to say a few words about Dr. Pranesh.
Thanks, Ashish. My association with Dr. Pranesh dates back to 1969, when a preclinical era we all entered the clinical side. He was an assistant professor in Dr. T.K. Ganesan's unit. And since that time, we have maintained a very, very great cordial relationship. He was an excellent teacher, a great human being, showed a lot of empathy to patients. In fact, today morning, I was the first one to post a small anecdote about him, which was my own personal experience. Those were the days when he was practicing on Crosscut Road in one of the first floor, maybe it was a Revijay building. Almost all of us, the medical college students, will take our parents or our relatives only to Dr. Pranesh. He had not done his neurology by then. He would, like Ramani Shankar said, examine the patients, take time to examine, arrive at a diagnosis. That was an era when we had only an ECG and X-ray chest, nothing else as a diagnostic tool. Give a clinical diagnosis, give a prescription, and when the patients offer money, he will say, no, I won't take it. I still remember his words. He will say, Dr. Ramchandran, you know why I'm not taking it? Tomorrow when you start practicing, this is what I want you to do. Any of our colleagues come, please extend this courtesy to them. And I am glad that till today, I have followed his advice. A month back, he was talking to me when he was treating one of his neighbors. He spoke to me almost for 30-35 minutes. And then 5 minutes was about the patient, then we talked about our profession. And then he was asking me about my children. He said, I have attended the wedding. I said, yes, sir, you have attended both the weddings. Then immediately he started mentioning the names, Akshay Vets Meena. Then he said, Anupama, Pramod, and Manya. I asked him, sir, how are you remembering all these things? No, Ramchandran, look at the coincidence. That is probably our relationship. There is a book on my table as I was talking to you. I just opened the book. I found the marriage invitation. This is almost 2 years after the wedding. I said, what are you saying, sir? It is 2 years. You know what he said? Ramchandran, as a policy, I don't destroy any marriage invitation. Do you think any of us have done it? It's one of the greatest qualities. And probably I'm just learning it at the age of almost 70 years. I wish I had known it long, long ago. I also would have emulated this. Maybe this all relates to sentiments. We can talk for hours and hours about his qualities, about his nature, about his simple, beautiful bedside manners, the kind of empathy and affection he would show to every patient. Any number of times he refused to collect a fee from a poor patient. Any number of times he went beyond the call of duty to help a patient. As I said, he would buy medicines and give it to them. Yes, we can keep on going. But at the end of the day, we are all very sorry that we have lost a great son of this soil. We all pray for his soul to rest in peace, and we have always also convey our heartfelt condolence to his family members. Thank you.
Now I request Dr. Ramani to say a few words about Dr. Pranesh. Dr. Ramani?
Yeah. Thank you, President. Dear friends, all of us We are privileged to have known Dr. Pranesh. Quite a number of our colleagues in the hospital, the Rotary, the families, we had known him so well. As a doctor, a neurologist par excellence, he reached great heights. A voracious reader, always trying to keep himself abreast with the knowledge of the science of medicine. And when it comes to the question of treating the patients, such a highly ethical, value-based approach with true compassion. His compassion towards the patient is just coming from his heart. It's not for the sake of saying that I'm compassionate. It used to come from his heart. Every single patient, whether he's the richest of the rich or the poorest of the poor, for him, patient is the main person. For him, he is dedicated. Such a wonderful achievement in his field and such a great teacher. A lot of our own colleagues in Rotary Central have been taught by him. A teacher par excellence. They will all remember his values, his teachings, and it is something which actually he is a role model for most of the doctors, the next generation doctors. If only they read Pranesh, Dr. Pranesh, and then try to emulate him, that is the perfect role model for the doctors. As a human being, haven't seen such a humble and simple person. Humility to the core. It's innate nature of Dr. Pranesh to be humble and simple. That ego, that I is never there for him. He always saw the positive aspects of everybody. I haven't seen him talking about negative about anybody. Try to take things, the positive things in everyone. Wonderful qualities to be emulated from him. We at Shankara were privileged over the past 43 years. Ever since we started, he was helping as a honorary consultant. Dr. Indra was Radha's roommate in the medical college in Tanjore. Family was very close to us. Very unfortunate. And in fact, in the month of March, he called us and said, all of you be careful. And the situation is not good. Everyone has to take. So he should advise everybody how we have to be careful. A very truly religious person, highly religious, truly religious person. For him, religion is so important. And all satsangs used to be there. I think such a perfect human being. A perfect human being. All dimensions one can think of. Such a perfect human being. Today we have lost him. But he's immortal. He's going to be immortal in the minds of everybody. His students, his patients, his friends, the family, the society at large. He's immortal. His memory will be there. I'm sure Coimbatore should do something to remember him, perpetuate his memory. And as far as we always talk about heavenly abode, for him it is only a heavenly abode. He will be at the lotus feet of the Lord Almighty. That is the only place which he deserves. That is the kind of a person, Dr. M.B. Pranesh. We all miss him so much. We convey our heartfelt condolences to the family. Pray to Lord Almighty to give them the strength to bear this loss. And all of us would fondly remember Dr. M.B. Pranesh throughout our lifetime.
Thank you, Rotarian Dr. Ramani sir. Now I request Dr. Raj to say a few words.
Yes, sir. Thank you, President. So, a lot of people have told many wonderful things and good things about Sir, but probably I can give more personal information and experiences with Sir because I was very, very privileged to be his student and later to work closely with Sir. And today, the entire country, just not our city or not our state, but the entire country, not just one specialty.
Ashika sir, your audio is not clear.
Amongst all specialties, amongst orthopedic surgeons, among general surgeons, condoling his death, because Sir was exactly what every doctor wants to be in his mind. So can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, now you
Oh.
now
Sir, is it now?
Ashika, you cut the video, if your audio will be more
clear.
audible.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, now fine.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Sir, now can you hear? Yeah, sir, is it now clear, sir?
Yeah,
Hello?
Yeah, now fine. Carry
Okay,
on.
sir. Sir, lots of people have
Yeah. Doctor, again, the audio is not coming. Hello. Yeah. Hello.
President, I think you can ask him to talk a little later.
Okay. Next, Dr. Prakash has joined.
specialties. I mean, orthopedic surgeons, dental surgeons, general physicians, nephrologists, urologists, everybody, every specialty is. Sir, okay, I'll come through another line, sir.
Okay. Dr. Prakash is there?
Yeah, is there? No, I'll finish later.
Okay.
Let Rashika finish.
Okay.
And President, let everybody switch off.
Para is there. You can talk.
Yeah.
Para didn't talk.
Yeah, Dr. Para has already spoken, I think.
Yeah. I have.
Dr. Prakash, you can talk. He'll be joining.
Okay.
He'll be joining a little later, I think. Okay.
Okay.
President,
Yeah.
if everybody mute the audio and also video, then the data transfer will be very less, so easy to talk.
I think everybody is muted on audio. Only the speaker is audible. That's all. Doctor?
Maybe you should ask Prakash to talk by the time Dr. Asher comes back.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, President, for giving me the opportunity to offer my condolences to my guru, Dr. Pranesh. Though I was not his. Oh, Asher, is there?
Yeah, can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, you can hear.
Okay, sir, you finish, sir, then I will speak.
Okay. Thank you. Though I was not his direct student or is my professional colleague, our families were known to each other for a long time. My first interaction with him, though I know him very well, it was in 1980 when I was working as a medical officer in GKNM hospital. He had come there to visit his mother as an attendant to his mother. As I entered the room, he immediately stood up. Sir, I told, I was very embarrassed because I was just a junior medical officer. Then he said, I am on holiday and you're on duty. I must respect the duty medical officer. So he stood up. I was really shocked. Being a junior most in the profession, senior man is standing up in front of me. I was very embraced. Number two, he was just playing with his son. I think he had late marriage, I don't know. And his son was only 4 or 5 years old. And he was playing with him. Then he told me, Prakash, this is the only time I am get to play with my children because I'm always busy. He was probably in around 50s. He was in the prime in his profession. And he said, this is the only time I'm playing with my children, and he was almost his eyes were wet. So you can imagine the amount of dedication he had for his profession. It's not that they're only after the patient, but he had so much of a rush. Because everybody wants him. Everybody wants him because he was so empathic towards his patient. Probably last time Paras told, he goes out of the way to help his patients. Maybe about 4 or 5 years back, he had taken off from his clinic because I was ill. So I had to visit his home just to say, give my respects to him. And he said, I told him, why can't you reduce your practice or increase your fees? He charges probably over 2 or 250. He said, Prakash, see, so many people come in search of me with so much of faith and confidence. It may be of different section of people, not all are rich. So I have to justify them. When they have so faith, I have to help them. That's why I'm not increasing. I don't mind working more, but I must satisfy all my patients. That was he was telling. That is around his 80s, 70s and 70, 75 years old neurologist is talking like that. You must learn from him. He was a complete man. Not only as a doctor, he's a complete man. He was so empathic. He was so sympathetic towards his patient. He goes out of the way. Another thing I'll tell you, one patient came to me, it was about 10 years back. After examining, writing a prescription, then he told me, sir, I went to Dr. Pranesh, I waited for 4 hours. Then when my turn came, I explained to him my complaints. He just didn't even touch me. He told, you go to Dr. Prakash in Saiba Colony. Then why did he say that, he asked me. The idea was that if it's a very simple case, he thought I can handle. Neurology is not necessary for that. So he was so kind enough to share his patients because he can spend that time to seeing other serious patients. That's how he was managing it. Usually it doesn't happen. I was really shocked. You must learn from him how to share his patients. He had a confidence. And he used to write when I send patient, he send the reply letter, he used to write MD. I'm just MBBS. Once I asked him, sir, I'm only MBBS. You are writing MD. He said, when you passed out, you was MBBS. After so many years, you are MD. That means he respects. He respects the qualification. I never found anybody like this. This is all good quality to have come across. Some of the lighter side of practice about Pranesh, I'll tell you. After finishing MD, he had a small clinic in Crosscut Road. Where the Sumangali jewelry is there. There is Shanmuga bakery was there. He was there on practicing on the first floor. After about one and a half years, he thought he will make post-graduation. So he went to America. Immediately after going there, he fell ill. So he had to come back because he had no support. He could ask any of his students, but he was so embarrassed. Probably he didn't want to ask or embarrass anybody in America. Your neighbors don't know who is your neighbor. So he just came back after 20 years without any degree. Then he went to Pondicherry to do his DM cardiology. That was the gain for India and for our country. Coming back, otherwise probably he would have settled in America. So this is one. Another thing is when MGR was sick, he had developed diabetes and probably has some neurological complication, which he didn't want to probably in practice in show in Chennai. So he asked Dr. Pranesh to come out to Chennai to treat him. And he bluntly refused because so many hundreds of people are waiting for me. And I cannot come to Chennai. He had the guts to tell MGR. And MGR came all the way to Coimbatore and stayed here for 10 days in the Idiyam Malige, where that's behind the Sangar Angaman. He stayed there and MGR was convinced about his answer, and he took treatment from him. So these are the other side of Pranesh, and my respects to him. And if we suppose, if in the lighter vein, if we ask God, He showed me one person, complete person, human being you have ever created. Probably yesterday you would have told Dr. Pranesh, and today I don't think he'll have words to tell about that. That is Dr. Pranesh, our teacher. Not only our teacher, otherwise the Rotary wouldn't have conducted this meeting. He's not a Rotarian, not our club man, not a Rotarian, but he's a big serviceman. More than he is. That's why we are here to offer our condolences. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you. My respects to him.
Dr. Rajshekar, you can take it.
Yeah, sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, very clear.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity, sir. I mean, it's a very big blow. Everybody is deep in misery over SAR's death. Not just in our city, but not just in our state, but the entire country. And also what is very unique is from the morning, all these condolences messages are viral across all specialties, not just neurology, but urology, orthopedic surgery. And from morning, you can see in the entire orthopedic group across the country, this is so much viral. It was mainly because that SAR was exactly that what every doctor aspires to be and wants to be. And in each of the clinical aspects, whether it's being a very astute clinician, or whether it is in his dedication to the patients, or his capacity for hard work, or his excellence of academics and research, in every one of these, he was on the top of Himalayas, and which we are all struggling to be like him. My first, I'm very fortunate to have been one of his favorite students, and my first brush with him was, I was a medical student at the time, and we all used to go to Dr. Ravi Kumar's ward to learn after our regular postings. And then in the whole medical college, there was a buzz. Do you know one new neurologist has come? He has just finished his neurology posting and then come. And they were all talking, do you know, he's such a great teacher. He's so wonderful. He's not going home at all. He's staying in the ward. And then I went and started working in his ward after my duty timings. And people always say that he doesn't collect money, but actually it was quite more extreme also. Whenever somebody died in the ward, he used to call me and say, he used to put his hands in his pocket, and there'll be a lot of 10 rupee notes, 20 rupee notes, never a big large note. And he will put everything together. It will be 150 rupees or 160 rupees. At the time, it was a big money in 1980s. He used to hand it over to me and say, Appa, and the konja taxi in the panatha vechik sollupa. Konja daiseydu nee poi kudutittu vandirupa appdin solla. So it was a phenomenally different experience that we used to have from him. And I can tell this when I used to go and meet him every time. And when I came back in 1992 from England, and I wanted to start my practice, so I went and met him. I fell in his feet and asked for his blessings. And then I asked him, sir, have you got any advice for me? And he gave me 4 advices, which was something which every young doctor should know, and I followed every day. The first thing he said was, Shekhar, you should be everybody's doctor. Don't close your doors to poor people. I will tell you, you treat all VIPs as ordinary people and all ordinary people as your VIP. Don't see VIPs in a separate place and don't see poor people in a separate place. It should be the same couch that you must examine them. And it was on this advice, even today, all of you know, whoever comes to the hospital, whether it is a minister or the minister's driver, we see in the same cubicle. We don't have a separate, any of the consultants who see, we don't see in a separate this thing. This was really also, it put our mindset that everybody must be treated very equally. And then he said something more. Dr. Pranesh sir's capacity for hard work is very well known. He told the second important lesson for me. He said, if you are going to head, he asked me, what is your ambition? Then I said, we want to set up a good orthopedic and plastic surgery unit. And he said, if you want your unit to be successful, be sure that you are the first person who comes to the hospital and you are the last person to go out of the hospital. He said, once you are the most hardworking person in your team, 99% of the problems will get solved by itself, and 99% of the leadership issues in a team get solved. Only when the leader comes last and goes first, there is a problem. நீ காலையில யார் வரதுக்கு முன்னாலேயும் வந்துருப்பா, எல்லாரும் வந்துட்டு போன பிறகு நீ கொஞ்சம் வேலை செய்ப்பா, ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா நீ ஒண்ணுமே ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்காதுப்பா. So that we have kept it to our heart and mind even today, and that's why we always go, Rasavadi and I go most early and then come back late. He also used to tell, you should only have one-way planning in your day-to-day life. If you are a dedicated doctor, you can plan when to start work. But he'll always say, Shekhar, you must never plan when to end your day. Because your day ends only when you have catered to the necessity of all the patients who have come and seen. So you must close your day. Don't plan when to close your day, but only plan when to start your day. And he actually taught us what is meant by documentation. In India at that time, people were seeing many patients, but they will not have a great documentation about all their patients. He always used to emphasize to us, every patient notes, you must have a good documentation, and that is the basis of research. So every new year I used to go and meet him, and he always used to ask me, what is your plan? Epapa nee book eludha pora, epapa nee research panna pora, epapa idu panna pora. And that was such a big incentive, and he was always a very, very great role model for us. His affection for our family was extraordinary. I can still never forget that after he got admitted in PSG, we were all really distraught, and we were praying for him. All the medical college students of Coimbatore, every batch, we kept different timings, and we were praying, doing group prayers for him. I don't know how to explain this great tragedy. We can't understand the ways of God and the ways of fate. We have lost him. But just 3 or 4 days before his death, one of his physiotherapists also works with me. And he came and said, Sir, Ajanta pesnon solraren solite. He gave the phone, and he was gasping, and he said, Shekhar, na edukku phone pannirukena, appa amma nalla paathukenga Shekhar. Don't allow them to go out of the house. Don't allow anybody to come into the house. This disease is horrible, pa. They are putting you into a separate room, and appa amma kella idu varakudadu pa paathukenga. In such a distress where he was unable to speak, he made sure that he called and told it, and that was Sir. I mean, his affection and concern for others was something extraordinary. I mean, we will always miss him. I mean, he was a complete person. They always say, there is a quote, you have to be a very good human being before you can be a good doctor. So Sir was a perfect example. I mean, he was such a great human being that allowed him to be a great doctor. So we'll always remember him. And as everybody says, those who live in the hearts of people who love them can never die. So Sir will be one such person. And let's all pray together that his soul will rest in peace, and he will continue to bless and guide us. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Rotarians, anybody else want to pay homage? Dr. Pranesh?
Rangarajan?
Is there?
President Rajinikanth Karya wants to talk. Ask him to unmute.
Okay. Please unmute yourself, Rajnikant. Hello.
No, Rajnikant, unmute.
Rotarian Rajnikant, unmute yourself.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, my association with Dr. Pranesh is more than 27, 30 years. The gentleman in a par excellence, and he has really, I don't know, I must be having a last year, Janmat Lerachi, I must be having some bonding with him. So whenever I used to go, he will come out to the door to receive me, embrace me, and take him inside the consulting room. This is how he was to treat me. And I had to go for an operation a couple of months back in last November. And this gentleman, every third day used to inquire, did you do that? It's a cobra. Don't keep it in the body. You have to do it. You have to do it. And Dr. Kanswami was very helpful, and altogether I could remove. But even before 15 days back, every third day, fifth day, he will call on me and inquire in the morning at about 10:30, 11. Rajnikant, you are good. Everything is fine. And everywhere, he's like a fatherly figure or mentor to me. And we have really lost him. And everybody is feeling the same thing, and it's a big loss to us. And this Dr. Pranesh, when I was talking to one of the very special doctor of this thing, urology in America, Detroit, his name is Dr. Menon. That gentleman is also an aged guy, and he's the number one urologist and robotic surgeon in all of the world. When I was talking to him, he said, I was in Coimbatore, and I remember when I talked to him about the Dr. Pranesh, he was really, he spoke to me minimum 12 to 15 minutes in general. And when I spoke to Dr. Pranesh, he also spoke to me about Mr. Menon, Mani Menon. So you can imagine the guy, sitting over here, and he did not pursue anything in America, but he was available for every, the dedicated doctor throughout the world in their heart. And it will definitely cherish his memories all the time. And we have now a word to convey more than this. Thank you. Thanks for your the permission given to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rotarian Rajnikant. Dr. Rangarajan. Dr. Rangarajan, you are there?
Yeah.
Yes, muted.
Yeah. No. Now you are able to hear?
Yeah. All good.
Okay. This is a very sad day for all citizens of Coimbatore. I came to know Dr. Pranesh like Prakash only because he was not my teacher, but I worked with him in Dr. TKJ's unit, and he was the duty assistant doctor surgeon there. And I have never seen him going to the DA's quarters. He used to sit by the side of house surgeons and he would teach. His passion for teaching is something one should emulate and very compassionate. He has treated my parents, and whenever I used to refer any case, he used to write back a letter, and patient will bring the carry letter, doctor to Katba. I mean, he used to give a letter. These are great qualities that I have never seen from so many other consultants. I have not seen Dr. B.C. Rai, Dr. Rangachari. I have seen Dr. Pranesh, and Coimbatore has lost a gem. That's with these few words. I don't know what words are poor consolers. It's over to you, President. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rangarajan. Rotarian Suri. Rotarian Suri.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me what is it. Anyway, I used to meet him very often when he was in my brother's clinic. And after that also I have once when I had my own personally, I had some little problem also, I had gone to him. He said, don't bother, these are all nothing. You will, he is very encouraging words. He will never say you have got that, you have got nothing, but he encouraged words. He just wrote whatever medicine I had to take, I take. And then he told me to consult SN Natarajan, Dr. Natarajan for this. And he personally wrote a letter to Natarajan to take care of this. So he is very particular, has to be done to the patient, how he has to burn. Very, though I was, of course, we have friends, no doubt. Still, he was so kind and this thing encouraging for how he has to treat the patient, everything is to do. And it is very sad when because the same, we have seen Dr. Pranesh, one lady who works there also works in my house also. So I knew he was admitted hospital 1 week or 10 days back. So that time itself, and I used to encourage, I used to inquire through some other doctor, how is it proceeding, how is things are. Late night 1:30, I got the information very early morning today that he is no more. So it's all God's will. And unfortunately, this COVID is such a bad thing. I do not know how to overcome this by pulling off all very good, very noble souls from us. May God bless his family. May soul rest in peace.
Thank you, Rotarian Shuri. Thank you. Any other Rotarian want to pay homage?
Suri's father was his family doctor.
Okay.
For very many years. His father, M.B. Rao, and Pranesh, as a student, as a school student, they're all Suri's father, Dr. Ramraj's patients.
Oh.
Whenever he says, then he used to, he has a great respect regards to Dr. Ramraj. You never say Dr. Ramraj, he says sir. He'll never say Dr. Ramraj, he says sir. Yeah. So that's his quality. Except finest gentleman. For students, he's a god. For all the medical students, he's a god.
I've seen so many doctors over here. All have worked under him, actually.
One of my patient met him at 12 o'clock, and then he told him, "Sir, it's late." Then he told, "Sir, naanum 12 mani varalam, naanum paathitu thana poren." Then the patient started weeping. He came to my clinic and told, "Sir, ipdi soltaar sir, enakku onnu badile solla mudiyala." Sir, very, very rare quality for a top class neuro physician.
Yes, I would like to add here. Couple of years back, when we were thinking to whom to suggest for the that particular award, and I was hesitantly, I just raised that why can't we request Dr. Pranesh to accept this honor, and I don't think there was within another 20 minutes we could finalize him to get that particular awardee function. Everything was very well organized, and that thanks to Ramani Shankar and all the senior Rotarians at that time. And we made a very great, it was a very great event and great honorable thing for us to give him my award. That was my remembrance, please.
Thank you, Rotarian Rajnikant.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your experiences and stories of Dr. Pranesh. Though his body has left us, his spirit continues to be with us in our hearts. I now adjourn this meeting of Rotary Coimbatore Central. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Ashish, well conducted meeting, very satisfying. Very well conducted meeting, very satisfying.
Thank you, Uncle. Thank you.
It is touching our heart.
Dr. Billy? Yeah, please unmute yourself, doctor.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, doctor. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Very much audible.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I joined a little late.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
A little late.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll share my small experiences with Dr. Pranesh.
Yeah, most
It was in 1974. Okay. He was a physician. He was not a neurologist that time. Mm-hmm. So my brother, my immediately elder brother, he had a heart attack. So I had to admit him in Dr. Sengaliappan's nursing home. You know, that was those days, we didn't have much facilities. I used to admit my patients in that nursing home. So Dr. Shanmugha Sundaram, late Dr. Shanmugha Sundaram was very much known to me. So I admitted my brother there. So the consulting physician was Dr. Pranesh. So he gave, he just attended so well and gave him so much attention. And unfortunately, 48 hours after admission, my brother got, a palsy, paralysis attack. He has thrown an emboli in the brain. So, Dr. Pranesh, the moment he saw me, he was more upset than me. That incident, if I remember now, I tell you, a lot of emotions flowing. Yeah. And then later on, after completion of this higher specialty neurology, I happened to meet him. So I asked him, Doctor Sir, how was your experience? The postgraduate specialty course. He was so so much impressed with the famous neurosurgeon, Dr. Ramamurthy. So he was talking to me about Dr. Ramamurthy for a full 10 minutes. So he said, a brilliant neurosurgeon. I learned a lot of, subject matter from Dr. Ramamurthy. And you see, he himself was a brilliant physician, a brilliant neurologist. He was so appreciative of his teacher. This type of quality is very difficult to find with, the modern day, I don't know what else to say. And his brilliance. And he used to refer cases for me. I also refer cases to him. That way, a lot of contacts is really very shocking. I'm very sorry about the great loss. My deepest condolences to the family and all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Rajaram sir,
சொல்லுங்க.
your word.
எனக்கு என்ன, I have gone to distant neurology. I got nothing special to say.
Thank you. So we are closed.
பரவாயில்ல, ஒரு attendance வந்தாச்சு 28.
Yeah, 29 attendance was there. Thank you.
God.
Thank you. So thank you. We are closing the meeting now.
Yes.
Bye-bye.